we're going to ground on camera because we want to model that. So these lovely people are the perfect people to have ground. So we'll ground. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Culture of You podcast, where I have meaningful dialogue with some of my favorite people. The Culture of You. There you go. We are in the building, y'all. The Culture of You is a transformational storytelling platform, and this podcast is one way we do this griot work of sharing and archiving our stories. And so I do want to take a second. I will give it up for all of our partners. We are experiencing on this end, you're not seeing it, we are experiencing on this end some technical difficulties and some delays. And so we just want to model. We have people from Replenishing here, y'all. We have people from Replenishing here today. And we just want to ground together. And so hopefully if you're watching, this is a wonderful moment for you as well. Deja.
So welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, it's a beautiful time in the world, in the spirit of the time, to take this opportunity to just tap right into all that is present, all the contrast even, but with breath and with patience and with grace. So if you can find a comfortable seated space, we'll do this collaborative grounding, right? So there's something about the power of cooperation, and it begins with the self, right? So just cooperation with the self is this allowance that can take place right here, right now, giving yourself allowance to just be in and with the natural breath, right? So allowing your belly to be nice, big, and full, and just softening here. Softening. Yeah, what is urgent, right? We are here. Our feet are grounded to the earth. We are here. With all that is, we are here. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. And inviting yourself closer into the present moment. Although this is a podcast, conversation, and dialogue, we are here and you all are very much so a part of it. Your energy, your vibration, your auric field.
Let's start to deepen in relationship with the breath. So noticing how your body is moving as you take your breath out and in. The intuitive and silent communication, the silent dialogue with your body. And in this noticing, this awareness with the body that we're coming into, perhaps you start to create movement. Just intuitive movement. It's the breath in the body, begin this dance. Maybe you recognize the shoulders are asking to be rolled back, or a rotation of the neck, the head, a flexing of the feet and the hands. And in this silent communication, we're coming in closer and deeper relationship with the present moment, but also deeper in relationship with your wholeness. I am here now. In the midst of my to-dos, in the midst of challenge, in the midst of all that is, I am here now.
Continue feeling your breath moving in and out. And just notice what you hear. Notice what parts of you are touching a surface. Perhaps you even continue creating some subtle motion, maybe by tapping your feet or tapping your legs. pulling yourself all the way here into the room, into your body, into this next breath. Let's take a collective breath together, finding your exhale. And then taking an inhale through the nose, pausing the breath at the very top. And we're going to sigh out through the mouth, making sound. Ha. Allowing our nervous systems to settle. Maybe a hum. On that next exhale, just allowing a bit of sound, taking up space in your body. Ha. And we'll just make some subtle movements to slowly come back into the room. You can shift your gaze open towards the ground and then all the way. Begin staying in this state of presence. Hi. Hello. Maybe this is the real hello. Hello.
That was it. That was it. This is the real thing. We are here now. I can't think of a better introduction to you wonderful women. All right, so we are here with Replenish, but there's so much more than that. So let's get into that. First, I do want to say thank you to Zora's House and the Purple Door Cafe. Everyone here has a beverage. We do. We have our beverages, and they are great. Open 7:30 to 2:30, Monday through Friday. Here, 1393 4th Street. Did that. Okay. So, and I just want to give a shout out to my team. We got 3E Multimedia here. We got Project Nest Solutions actually in the building. So Dope ENT is on the road, going to her daughter's university, and then the EXO Collective as well. That's my team, and I'll go to the ends of the earth for them now. Let me tell you, nothing runs without them, okay? And then, of course, we have Chanelle, Monique, and Deja here with us today. So let's give it up for them before we get it going. I'm going to do really, really brief introductions, and then what I want you all to add, and we can do it individually, but I want you all to add like what's living inside of you right now or what you want to be known about you right now that I'm not mentioning. So I'll start on this end because we want the mic in your hand a little bit too. All right, so Deja. Restorative Vision Oracle. I love that so much. Restorative Vision Oracle of Conscious Exchange and co-founder of Be Replenish and Livelihood 614. Deja is a visionary, an oracle, a root healer and worker, an ever-evolving canvas. And I really enjoy that about you. That's me. But what else would you want people to know about you in this moment? I know you've taken many turns on your journeys. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for this inclusion, and thank you for the space we're holding. What do I want you all to know about me? You know, I live on the edge, and I didn't choose to be there. It's just sort of my alchemic chemistry on this planet, right? And the edge is where evolution is, so that's a word that I use often is evolution, and like healthy evolution. And what does that look like? Because to be on the edge of the known and unknown it can be a tricky space. Right, especially when society is moving in such a way where there's rapid growth and change happening simultaneously. How do we stay in alignment with your own divine evolution? And, you know, the tree doesn't bear its fruit until its time. Mm-hmm. So I think that I live on the edge. When I do this work, when I step into the calling of this purpose that is part of my alchemy. I'm spontaneous. You know, I don't come with a whole bunch of plans that seem so stereotypical. I am a channel. You know, there's a download that will happen because I have that gift. It's a gift. And I share those gifts because I want to give permission for everyone else to own their superpowers. And it comes natural, and so we can overlook. So yeah, I would say the edge is it's edgy right now for me in my life. Very edgy. New timeline happening. So.
How beautiful and terrifying, right? Like it's beautiful and terrifying.
And I'm making it sound real cool, but there were times at night where you're like,
I feel you. That's all I can really say right now. Is like, just be thinking, like, this is really where I am. It wasn't on my bingo card, but I'm here now.
We're here now.
We're here now, and I gotta walk it out. I love it. So Monique is actually my connection to all of you all. I met you almost 10 years ago. It's almost 10 years, decades, really, if you think about it.
Talk about a different timeline.
Woo! Okay, so co-founder and restorative connection of Replenish Well Plus brands. Monique has so many lives as well in health and human services, social work, and bridging community care and like individual well-being. Published author, movement instructor, creative speaker. If you don't know, then you should probably find her EP with Renee Dion. That is, yes, meditation. Like, put it on, go to sleep. Put it on, regulate. Y'all, they had their opening over at the museum. It was a whole thing. But if you can hear it, that energy is still in that EP. I just listened to it this morning, and getting ready for this. And I think your voice. You were the first person I had do Reiki. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you were the first
Thank
person
you.
to do Reiki on me, and we had a moment around my heart, and that's where my healing and like my somatic journey as a practitioner began. So I am, forever grateful for you in my
Thank you,
life.
friend.
And then, so what are you wanting to put in the space, and what are you wanting people to know about you additionally too?
First, there's something about the gift of spending many lives together. Because we don't always see each other, but there have been these touch points of like coming back. And it's like, wow, there you are again. And
right.
like, look at you and your wholeness. And so seeing you, witnessing you, and who you have allowed yourself to, the ways that you have been courageous in your evolution is a gift. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm extremely multidimensional. I refuse to be boxed in. And so that's something that I think is important to know about me. And I've been that way since I was a little girl. I grew up in the country, and there's pictures of me like barefoot in a dress, eating dirt. And so there's something about that younger version of me that is becoming even more alive as I'm in my 40s, right? Of like, no, I'm not just this or that. I more recently have been claiming that I'm a fire in the middle of the ocean. Yes. And so allowing people to, thanks y'all, thank you. That came in a dream.
Yes.
Where I am in my evolution now is allowing myself to be witnessed in all of these different dimensions that I exist in. Yes. Allowing myself to be witnessed and not holding those parts to myself like so closely anymore. So they're still close, but just allowing it, the fullness and the wholeness of my being to be fully witnessed and not still resisting society's ways as being a woman to want to box me into being this or that when I'm both and all of the above. So
both and all of the above. All of it. That witnessing piece is so important because that's the like final healing point, right? Like that witnessing, like I go heal, I go into my cave or whatever I'm gonna do, I go heal, and then in community I'm witnessed. That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Chanelle. All right. Co-founder at Replenish. I'm so excited to have you here. And Chanelle, the way that I really get to engage with Chanelle is like curating experiences for me at Replenish, because that's the home base. Y'all know I'm going there, okay? And like operations is no joke, but there's lots of ways that care can be given and shown, and the tenderness with which Chanelle plans things and cares for people as they're curating these like healing experiences is really dynamic and loving and supportive is what I would say. I feel very held when I'm working with her. And so I'm definitely excited to hear more about, we joke about, like we want to hear more from you, but at the same time, your presence is very felt. And so I just want to say that for sure. But what else would you like to have in the room in this moment?
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here, to be seen, to be heard. I do a lot for our brands in behind the scenes, which, is very comfortable. And it's actually, I'm a very sort of logical thinker. Growing up, I took the traditional routes, did the grades, did the college, but my real learning came after school. Like, life has been the best teacher for me. First of all, unraveling the identity I had with just learning and books and in the traditional paths that people want to box you in. So I love that you said that, trying to figure out how to get back to the space of pure presence and who that really is. And my pathway has been through my body. That's why my card resonated when we did our cards. Your body will tell you if you're listening. But the thing about my life, I was, and maybe this resonates with you all, that you're in constant motion. So are you really listening? Is there even space enough to listen? And so I came on this journey through yoga. Yoga was my introduction into I always knew I wanted to be in healthcare, and initially wanted to be a doctor, and so I went a different route when the doors were closed or no's were said, and so, but that was necessary on my journey and on my path, and so yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still listening to my body. I get to spend incredible moments with these two that are so colorful and get me thinking and more closer to my intuition, because they take me on these spontaneous journeys, and just the language. I mean, you guys hear it. You see it. You see it, you feel it. And I've learned so much about myself and, through you two, because of the space holding. That we all need. We all need this acceptance, this space to just literally unravel from all of what we're being taught every day and the culture that we've sort of been attuned to, but we need to attune to something else. And so I'm saying a lot to say I'm here. I love operations. I am that part of our brand, along with these two. I mean, operations kind of consists of a lot of things, but my brain does work in sort of file folders, and I can get a business moving, and I can hold space for that. But I guess I want you all to know as well, because my family, I'm a mother, my family is neurodivergent, and I've learned so much about processing the world through raising them, and the importance of slowing down and holding space for moments that you don't feel like you fit in, or you don't feel like you're a part of. So my story is about that. It's about coming to the space of truth for myself, but also my kids, and also for the whole world. Like, we all don't fit in these boxes that people are trying to put us in and squeeze us in, and the coming of technology and AI and all of that. And I know that's probably part of this conversation, but how can you still find who you are and keep that and hold that sacred as we move through? Yeah.
All right, I pulled listening to the body, and if you're moving too fast, you can't. That's definitely what I pulled from that. And as also a lover of operations, I think there's just a beautiful care that's in there, and we get to think outside the box, because operations looks different in these spaces. You know what I mean? And that slowing down is so necessary, and I appreciate that neurodivergent piece too. I learned so much new about you just then. So I do want to talk about Replenish a little bit, but then I'm going to get into y'all a little bit more. So 16 years ago, Replenish was started? Okay. And so, yes, give it up for that. Sustainable business, brick and mortar space. Washington Street. Okay.
124 South Washington. Yeah.
124, right? 124? The neurodivergence comes in handy with the number. You know? Yeah. Go over there, book it. Is it bereplenish.com? Or is it Replenish?
Replenish with us. Yeah.
Okay.
So replenish with us.
Replenish with us.
There's a dot before the S.
With dot us. Y'all got that? Okay. All right. So how has that vision shifted over these 16 years and been lived out by you all over these last 16 years? I know there's been lots of iterations, so share what you will.
Yeah, 16 years is a long time, y'all. Spiritual seed, though. It's a spiritual seed, and it originated with our mother's dream for this. And she had a dream, and it somehow manifested itself. So it lives in our DNA. And so the culture that we've built, literally the care curriculum that we have, came from our DNA. And so throughout this 16 years leading up, and I'm bringing you to now, because literally it's in the now where the curriculum itself is the most valuable piece, right? But when you're building something that is within your spirit, you gotta have grace because it's coming out organically. And that is the misnomer around entrepreneurship right now and being a business owner. That this instant gratification piece and this urge to be like, I gotta do my own thing. And it's like, yes, self-ownership first so that you can actually claim the proper seeds for this given life, because we have many. What is proper and aligned for this life and in the spirit of the times that we're living in. And so our business has shifted in a way that has been in alignment with the joy and celebration of life, but also the challenge, deep challenge, right? And so when you have a spiritual seed, when you're in challenge, that's when you give birth to the spiritual gifts that happens in challenge. So challenge sharpens purpose, right? We had this conversation, and I love holding space with you, so thank you, Antoinette, for being here. It sharpens our purpose in a way because we were able to give birth to the culture piece, the way in which there were no lines of demarcation as to how we function internally and externally. The piece that is still we're working on is the family piece, the kinship, because when you're so close to home, you can take advantage of that, right? And so our business is built in a home setting, in an environment. We were Black women led. And we say that very proudly because we need more Black woman-led curriculum for the planet, right? Because if anyone knows how to care, how to have hospitality, and how to be well in the deepest and darkest of challenges, it is Black women in the United States of America, okay? So I'm just going to say that now. And so we've evolved into being the central hub for hospitality care and being well for the city of Columbus and beyond. Because this curriculum is that valuable. And I say beyond because she's like, no, beyond, right? Like we all share in this vision and beyond. And so what that means is we now have expanded into going into already made societies, corporations, organizations, to be able to speak to the greatness in the age of tech and AI. We got to always bring this into conversations. Because AI is a being of some sort coming in, extracting data from us. So if you have a corporation and you have all these humans, we are losing connection. And so care, so I'm going to give you a piece of the curriculum here. We don't just say, I care for you. It has an acronym. It's connection, accessibility, restoration, and evolution. And we look through that lens because it's the lens we're looking through where the perception comes from. We just talked about this, perception. And so, you know, the evolution of our space is really a curriculum, and we're strategic as founders now. We're strategically planning care curriculums for corporations, organizations, team building, you know, all of those things, but on a much wider vision. And we're dispatching restorative leaders and practitioners that have their own businesses now. That, you know, we're living in we have a global wellness economy that is here, right? And we really need to look at how we're positioning ourselves, and we need anchor businesses, and we're the anchor, right? And we have a curriculum that supports and wraps care around other sole proprietors, new businesses, in a way that we can't keep living in the silos. We just cannot. Not with the conglomeration of big corporate business happening. We won't survive. Okay, so we are in the business now to speak to the truth of that. We have an education of care, and that's what we're evolving into. I mean, it is truly an intuitive process that we have now got into. It's like the first 10 years of your business is going to be you sort of pouring into the business from the DNA, right? And so you're right there, right? And then there's a space where you got to listen, and then the business is communicating to you, and you got to know when to let go. And we're learning to let go.
You said 10 years, didn't you? 10
Yeah.
years. Y'all heard that, 10 years.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
and I think that that's something to be said, because you hear a lot of, like, if you're listening to a lot of business podcasts and business education, there's always that word scale. You got to scale quickly. You got to scale to the next level, but that's not always sustainable. You also have to get very clear about what you're wanting to do, like what is the intention in that future. And so we've always been grassroots. We knew we wanted to, not be small. What do we always say? It's like we're beyond the four walls, but there was a sentence that we always said about, it'll come. But anyway, scaling, it depends on the type of business you want to run. And I feel like the world is moving now where things are more local. It's about the people you see in front of you. It's about building each other up. It's about, just like Zora's house, it's about, and that's what we're moving toward, where we're bringing in people that are working on their own. You're spending so much energy on your own, but how would it feel to be in a collective that is aligned, where you can still operate as yourself, but you're with others.
And we've been doing this since its genesis. It's just we're moving all of this to the forefront,
now
because
we're
when
talking
you're
about
in the
it.
care business, it's complex, and it can go over we can overlook it in some ways, because it's the invisible, it's the in between this and that. And so in Black women, we know this, right? Because we do it everywhere. It's like something's going on, we know how to hold the space. We know how to be adaptable, and that's a beautiful skill set to move to the forefront, because it's one of our superpowers.
There's also something about holding space for the intuition that comes forward, and the relationship with your intuition and the natural cadence and sometimes unnatural cadence that's happening in the world. Because what we're doing now, she and I were having a conversation about what we're doing now in 2018 or 2019, actually driving down the street on our way to OSU. And it was named really clearly. And so being in the manifestation of that now, there's this recall of that moment of space and the vision, like coming in, coming out, and then also being in deep relationship and observation of the cadence of the world and what was happening, and finding a way for the intuition and what's happening in the world to do this dance with each other. Nothing blooms before its time, and so much trust, because honestly, at the same time that we have been nourishing groundwork for where we are now, we have watched things like pop up that is like, oh, okay, I see that. And we've watched some things from a global perspective disappear as quickly as they pop up. And so there is remembrance that slow is sustainable, right? And that's something that I get concerned about, especially with our younger generation of entrepreneurs. Like, I didn't grow up having social media. We didn't grow up having social media, and it looks like everything just happens quick, right? And like everybody's rich, but also
So they see.
right, exactly. It looks like it. Like, we are looking at a whole lot of performance. A whole lot of performance. And so slowing things down, because we can get lost in the performance in ways too. Slowing it down so that seed matures at its most attuned pace in alignment with the timeline that we're on.
And what that does is it mitigates unnatural challenge. Yes. We're going to have challenge because challenge sharpens purpose when it's natural and in accordance with nature. But as soon as we start going in a direction where we're out of alignment with ourselves, we're inviting in at that point more challenge than necessary. And so then we wonder why, it's like, ooh, I'm at a 10 and I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. All hopped up on cortisol.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know. Yeah. How did I get here?
I want to stay with the challenge sharpens purpose, but in a different direction. So we are dealing with community, and one of the quotes that I've heard about community is the place where the person you have the most disagreement is. That's where they are. Conflict is intimate. Intimate and vulnerable. Talk to us about how you navigate community in that sense where it is a quick age. It is an age that wants to either just, release people and move on, but there's no actual work through conflict, grounded conflict, generative conflict, right? What does it look like to be in community and also have that type of, and invite that type of intimacy in the community as well as own a business? How do you balance that?
What comes up for me, and this is just part of my personality, but I just keep showing up. I keep showing up. I keep showing up in the challenge, in the conflict, and offering up what is present, and being honest about my perspective, about what's happening. And we hold a lot of space for that in our teams. We call them kinship. If a person is separating from our business and, we try to create space for, things that are coming up for the entire community so that we can talk about it. We've always sort of built that into our culture. So I think it's important to build it into your culture, how you want to show up, how you want others to show up as well, so that you leave space for, you have processes in place that help support the accountability pieces, that help support the vulnerability pieces, and they're protected in a certain way. And that's taken years to develop. I mean, we've had this idea, but it gets messy. You're like, oh my God, everybody's feelings are right here. What do we do? Everybody's, and we're in the care industry and you have to care for others. And so how do you do that and still hold space for yourself? Are you leaving it at the door? Are we being integral with what we're saying about how to care for folks, but you still have to, care for yourself? So we had to build that into our culture, and we've done a really good job of that. So for me, it's showing up. And yes, I love that conflict piece that it's intimate. I've never heard it that way.
It's the dismantling of the capitalistic structure. I'm going to map all this out real quick. So the reason why I'm very adamant, especially with the younger generation, because they are powerhouses, and I love that, and I do not want that to go away. And I want to go back and return back to make sure the seed that you're pulling forward is for you. And because capitalistic structure is like, hey, do this because you can make X amount of dollars and do these things, right? And so we're following an algorithm that isn't a natural it's not natural to your ecosphere. And so as Black people, as people of color, we want to be most aligned to that. So there's some dismantling. And so the meditation, the sitting with self, the getting real honest with self to get to the truth is really important. The challenges and the conflict, I love that, because I'm like, ooh, the conflict. But because I'm the one that when there's a conflict or there's a challenge, they do call Deja, so because I'm on the edge, so we're going, and I'm okay with that edge. But what has kept me integral, because ego is also part of the entrepreneurial journey, in terms of where's the ego. That's the first question I ask myself. Where's my ego here? Am I living in fear-based perception, or am I based in love, right? And so that helps to guide me through challenge. But again, coming back to the culture piece, you have to integrate this. It's gone are the days that corporations are like, here's our mission statement and here's our core values. But how do you actualize the core values? So we have processes in place that help us to actualize our core values. Number one core value, self-awareness, right? And so we infuse that into the practices every day at Replenish for the most part, right? We can always do better. But it is very prevalent, our core values. Number two core value, cooperation. But what is it? And we go into it. It's not just like, what does that mean in accordance with your choice to be here? Because we believe everyone's leaders, first of all. And this younger generation, they are coming out the womb. Like, I know more than you. And I'm like, you probably do. Okay? You probably do. You probably do. They're coming out the womb as leaders, so we got to hold them accountable to it. If you're a leader, then why are you late every day? You read over the kinship handbook, didn't you? Right? And so that's what it is. That's the, because I'm not your boss. I'm a more responsible leader in the space. I uphold the integrity. It's not about me being your boss. I don't want to be your boss. Mm-hmm. I'm an integrity holder to a seed that was given to me at birth. Mm-hmm. So when that changes the scene, so you do have to keep coming back. And in community, we have to massage away the debris. And in order to do that, you need care. You need connection. You need to make things accessible. You need to learn how different techniques and processes to restore something, which is the work, meditation. Let's drop into breath. Let's take ownership of where we are. And then how can we evolve? And language builds the world. Okay? So if your language is off, we don't say terminate. Ain't nobody about to get terminated from Replenish. Right. We're about to separate because it's time. And our mission, our motto, and it's a hard motto. We had some feedback around our motto, but we haven't shifted it. It's grow or go. And that's what it is. Grow or go. Period.
Well.
Right? Because that's kind.
Yeah.
That's kindness. That's
clarity
kindness.
is kind, yes. Everybody's in here like, y'all just getting it. I love it. I love it.
I get concerned sometimes that we have lost the ability to hold space for repair in relationships too. Right? Like we just are so quick. It's almost like we're going back to the internet and tech and AI now. Like if I just remove someone from my friend list, like now they're gone, right? And so holding space for repair in relationships, if I say that you matter to me, if I say I care about you, we're a business, we're saying we care about you, then we have to hold space for repair. Repair doesn't always look like things stay exactly as they were either, but that work starts with self. That's why that first core value of self-awareness is so important, because if I'm locked up in my own body with shame, if I punish myself every time I do something wrong, it's very hard for me to extend any type of grace for repair to someone else, because I'm too busy judging myself, right? And so holding that space for relationships to be repaired also gives us an honest channel and pathway to know when it is time to go. We want you to go because that means there's something else that is there for you. And care does not mean that you own this relationship, or that we're supposed to stay like this for forever.
That's also part of the capitalistic structure. Right? So this is the awareness here, right? Because we're not of that system. We're not of it, but we have been a part of it. And so stuff starts rubbing off and we don't know where it is until you're leading a whole team and you're like, I am here.
All these people and energies. I'm supposed to care for all of these. I'm in charge. Whoa, how did we get here?
Yeah. So it's
Well, we do this as a collective, which we are very grateful for. Yes. Like, what do we say? We create in threes and move in twos. And so that's very deliberate, and it's very much a part of how we do things, because cooperation is another part of our core values. And so we cooperate, and it dismantles that ego piece as well. It's like we can all show up. We can all be our best self. We can all lead. We can all be in our greatness together. But it also allows support. It's like I don't have to do it by myself. Yes. I don't have to, carry this whole load on my back alone. It's like I can share it with my sister. We can do it together.
In that, we conserve our capacity. What else do we do? We get to really lead with our own superpowers. It's like my superpowers are different than her superpowers. And, and then we also learn about, okay, you have that superpower. I got that in me too. But it allows us spaciousness to grow and develop, because what we practice, we become, and what we focus on expands. And so if I'm focused on trying to do this leadership in this box of capitalistic leadership of some kind I'm at the top of the organization. If I would have, because to be honest, this curriculum, because when we first started, I was the point person for I'm out here, I'm just going around, I'm like, replenish, and I'm the spokesperson, because we had to make it up as we were going. But if I didn't have this care curriculum, my whole being would have been squashed, right? Because that doesn't last long. People push you to the top. But then when it's time for you to evolve and do something else, or, bring someone else forward.
Or in challenge, they're looking at you like it's your fault.
And so what we've experienced is people try to separate us.
And
Because,
we don't do that.
Deja's or Monique's this, or Chanel's. We will not let that happen. Okay?
Beautiful.
Nope. And it feels sometimes strange for people, because we'll show up. It'll be 5 people in a room, but there's 2. Like, why are y'all here, 2 of y'all doing this yoga? Because we know the seed is bigger than this present moment, but not just bigger, because this 5 people deserve to have this curriculum that requires cooperation to be infused. And so we've been like that from the beginning, but we got a lot of people were like, what?
Like, it's one person in here and there's 2 of y'all.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
From an operations standpoint, I was like, guys, we gotta.
It's giving extra special care. I don't know. I don't know if I'm in a doctor's office and I got 2 nurses and 2 doctors. I'm not upset. You feel me? Like, I'm not upset.
No, but I was gonna joke that from the operations lens, I was like, okay, guys, this is getting expensive.
Costly. yes.
But what's so incredible about us standing for that early in the relationship is that the pandemic happened. And at the point that COVID showed up and we were in these separate spaces, there was this depth in relationship that had been cultivated because we had spent all this time together in the car, in the work, out the car, dragging things in. Like, there was all of this relationship that had been established. And I do want to share for a moment. So our business is 16 years old, and I came in at that halfway point. But Chanelle and I have known each other since I was 18. And so you talk about being that girl. When I was a freshman at Ohio State, I was like, oh, she's it. She's it. And I saw her as so multidimensional. And I came in, it's a very long, layered story, but at the point that I came in, I had my resume, and I'm like, I'm supposed to do this work. I don't know how this is going to look, but I'm supposed to do this and transition out of my old employment. And it was such a spiritual assignment. I'm like, this isn't going to make sense to you all, is what I told my old team. This isn't going to make sense, but it doesn't have to. And I remember Deja gave me my resume back.
This is nice. Like, she was so official with her heels and her briefcase.
I had a
Her shoes off. We were just like,
I know we're in the spa.
You came was being like a caseworker, though. Like, right? You came, but you was ready.
Yes.
We loved it.
And the reason why I gave her resume back, because anytime my sister is like a yes, there's a trust. She's my big sister, okay? She's big sis, okay? She's the person who freed me up during, we're going to just do this, because Chanelle doesn't come out often. When she does, I might even cry.
Okay.
Because it's been a journey, okay? My path was non-traditional. I didn't go to college. I was never in a construct. So I'm out here like a free bird wandering around, finding my way. Thank God for that, because part of our business and a lot of our curriculum came from that space. That's right. And she freed me up. She said, keep going in that direction. These people are crazy over here. She's like...
She said, don't even worry about it. You're not missing a
You're
thing.
good.
You actually know more.
Yeah. So part of our business gifts is when you work for us as human development, right? And there's a gift with all of us. We are part of that. And Chanel's really beautiful and like you said, it's just like this support, this care, this tenderness around operations. But that operations translates into understanding, being able to hold space with somebody and seeing where there's freedom to grow.
That's
and
right.
she's able to capture that. And I'm a living proof as a little sis, right? That was a little like, at the time, black sheep of the family, right? Because it's like, what are you doing? I was a teen mom, right? But thank God for Brielle, because she's, doing her thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying all that to say that I love you. And I'm so glad that you're here today. I mean, 'cause
Yes.
it's love. It's
I
big love.
receive
Yes.
my flowers. Thank you so much.
Chanelle was our first yoga teacher,
Oh, yeah.
both of us. And she was
I was
also
doing yoga when nobody was doing yoga.
the first black woman I
It felt
saw do
like
yoga.
I was by myself.
Yes.
I mean, you guys, you're around the same. I think I'm a little older.
Well,
but-
here's the story. She came home with this, like, oh, I'm doing this new thing. She was like fabulous. She had her yoga bag, like she was ready. And I'm like, what's this? And she's like, we're gonna go out because this is during the time we were like, we're 3 years apart. We go out, but we went out and we drank a lot, probably. And then she was like, it's hot yoga the next day, and I'm like, sure, we're gonna do that. I drank a lot. Maybe she didn't. I didn't know what I was being called to the next day. And oh my God, honey, I was in that hot yoga and it was so awful and beautiful that I was like, I was sold. I was like, this is the remedy. This is it. Yeah. So she's the bringer of knowledge in a way for our business as well.
Yeah, but it was kind of a lonely road. I mean, I know you guys are in the wellness industry in some ways too, and the communities are not necessarily, I don't know, it feels a little left out. And so I also did my training in another city, and so when I moved back here, we started our business, and so I was kind of on the outskirts of Columbus yoga scene. And so we just walked our own path the whole time. I mean, that was just that's also the other thing in challenge and conflict is like trust. It's like trust, even in those moments where somebody's coming up against you, they're hating or whatever it is, it's like, trust that you've done the work, if you have, and if you haven't, you need to check in on that. Have I really shown up at my best, and with what I truly believe in? And if you have, keep walking, because the time will come, time will tell. And that's, I think, why we do say 16 years so often is because time has told, and it's telling, and yeah, we keep showing up.
Yeah, and there's something about relationship, right? Like, healthy relationships, because even our relationships are fragmented now. Right? So part of the work is we create healthy relationships with corporations and organizations and individuals where we're sitting down and we're listening to the need. Because in challenge, it also gives birth to care, right? Because it's like, oh, wait, we didn't see this. It was a shadow part of our business, or so it's a light. It's like a flashlight. Care is like the flashlight to give visibility to what needs nurturing, nourishment. And so that's why challenge is conflict is, so I'm gonna have to meditate on this. Karen, what do you have about conflict? I'm interested.
I will say that blame looks for an enemy and repair looks for connection.
Bam.
Yes, I like that.
Blame looks for an enemy and repair looks for connection. And so that's why I say it's intimate, because if I don't care about our relationship, then I'm not going to address it.
Yeah.
And so it takes me wanting repair, me committing to repair. And I do this in agreements with organizations all over the country, actually. And it's like, all right, we have my non-negotiable is like a commitment to not producing harm intentionally. And then there's a commitment to repair because we're humans, right? And so when I think about that, it's like, it matters to me, so I'm going to approach it. If I don't say anything to you, and when I was coaching, if I wasn't coaching you up, I probably had given up on it. Like, you're just okay. Like, I know what you're going to do. I know what you're going to do. I know how you're going to perform. And if you're not performing in that way, like, I might pull you out the game. But, like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to put all this effort into this if it's not something that I want to care for and to grow in some way. It could grow differently, But that connection, we're wired for connection. And you've talked about that. We wire for connection. We've been societally taught to be individuals, and that's the pain point. I think that's where everybody's like unhinged, is because they don't have that connection, and we long for connection. And when we're not pursuing our longing, it shows up in all kinds of ways.
And we're also at a deficit because of the age of, I am that woman that's in the age of information and technology. Like, that's my saying, because we keep forgetting, and it's invisible. It's extracting so much from us. And we're already at a deficit. With human to human connection is the most vital resource known to man right now for human beings on this planet. And when I say that, I'm talking about birth. It's human touch is first before breath. So if you are feeling lonely, hold your own hand and send energy through. But also call a friend up and have a cuddle buddy. I don't know, but cuddle buddies are good.
Do you?
Do you?
Just saying. Have a cuddle
All
buddy.
right now. Because that's the next question. And so maybe, because the answer might be pleasure. I don't know. But what is the thing that you feel of your voice right now needs to be amplified individually and collectively?
So it's funny you said pleasure. I am in deep, deep relationship with pleasure, not only personally, but I'm curious about how we can be in co-creation evidence spaces like this. Like, this space feels pleasurable. Yeah. Looking out at you all and watching, before we started, the moments of connection that were happening, and just sipping those moments slow of like, ooh. Yes, look at you all. It's when I am eating my food. I like to dine by myself a lot. When I'm eating my food, when I
don't have to hear nobody else chew it. It's so
yes.
great. It's really great.
When I'm putting on my clothing and I'm paying attention to the texture and the way that texture is in relationship with the softness of my skin. And for me, it is a reminder of the presence in my body, and that I am more than enough, that you all are more than enough. And there is such a delicate balance. A lot in my life is delicate. I use that word often because pleasure can also be a form of escapism, right? And it can also be capitalism just wrapped up in a pretty box, depending on your relationship with it.
It's highway robbery. Again, they're robbing even pleasure. It's like, that's not what it's supposed to happen.
Right. But when I think about, and I meditate on our ancestors, when I think about my grandmother, Gloria, and the way that she could go from overalls and working in the garden to putting on a dress and going to the potentate ball. I don't know if any of you all remember those days of your grandparents or elders going to the balls, and the way that she would wear a lot of sequins. And I can remember the way that the light would interact with the sequins on her dress, and just her being in her beauty and owning it. Whether she had on overalls or she had on that dress. And that self-ownership for me is so pleasurable. And I do believe that we are at such a pivotal point in time in life where we're being robbed of so much. We're being robbed of so much that introducing these pleasure practices back to ourselves first, and then doing so in community, however it is that looks for you safely, is so important right now. For us to remember that I can hold your hand and feel the warmth of your skin, because you're a human, and so am I. We're not machines that are meant to produce. Somebody had yes, I am not a machine. I am not a machine.
And that's why saying human being, the being part, being present. What was the question?
I got lost in pleasure.
I said, what of your voice? You can run with pleasure if you want. It's fine with me.
So I'm about to go.
Run with pleasure. So talk about how, the question has changed. How is pleasure showing up for you in this moment, and how do you want to take it out into the future?
That's a good question for me right now. Being in a new timeline, I'm going through a separation. And I'll say this live, right? Because, separations are real. The love is still very much so there. And so I started out the gates young, as having a teen, being a teenager, having a baby, it in the society sort of like attacking you around it. Mine gets hot and cold. So I think pleasure for me is giving myself allowance to just be here now. Like I love being just in the presence with human beings and just being here. What else is good? The alone time, I'm one that I don't turn on TV. I'll do some music, but sometimes just to walk around in the house with silence and just be in the house with just myself. Aloneness and loneliness are two different things, okay? And so I like to say that out loud because there's a lot going on with loneliness. When you start feeling that, that's a different approach. But aloneness is essential right now because you got to get back to that. We keep saying self-ownership is the new business model. Because with the tech happening and the extraction of everything, all of our energy, alone time is going to give you the data. It gives me the data I need to make better choices, to self-regulate, to fine-tune what emotional weathering is I'm dealing with primarily. It might be storming inside. And I'm like, oof, what care recipes am I going to need? And so we can't also adhere to, our ritual. This is the ritual. It's like, it's like what is actually going on? What emotion, what weathering are you experiencing? And from that, baths for me. So pleasurable. And I'm talking about midday baths. I'm not talking about nighttime. I'm talking about thank you. High five hug over there because the midday, the sun coming in the window and I got an old school bathtub, honey, and I am in the bathtub.
Okay.
So that's what's coming up.
I love that.
Okay, so pleasure, I was like really feeling, when you guys were talking about all this, the texture and all the things. Pleasure is a hard word for me because I think that I'm in a space of life where, it's always been hard, but especially, being a mom of 3, neurodivergence, all of the things all at once, I think that acceptance is a place where I need to land a bit more. To experience pleasure, because in moments where my kids are one's having a meltdown, one's there's a lot all happening at once. I don't always have the time. Also, we don't have a traditional way of like childcare and things like that. So there's sometimes barriers, but present moment does still offer up. If the moment I have staring into my son's eyes when he wants to do yoga with me, or he gets on my mat, or there's moments, but we have to again slow down enough. And I think that's also my teacher in this life, because I can produce. I'm a manifester. I can go, and when we talk about portals, my portal is like data. It's like I got to get this out, and I work hard, and so also acceptance is that I work in a different way. Sometimes I'm learning this about myself, that I might go hard for like 2 weeks, but then the next 2 weeks I should be massage on this day, facial on this day, yoga. Like I need to balance it out for myself. And everybody is different. Like, what does rest look like? But aloneness definitely needs to be more scheduled into my life, because I think a form of control when you're trying to, again, this acceptance piece of my life, trying to fit my kids into the mode that's here, and that's not what's happening. Like we don't come and just sit in this beautiful room. We will get curious and take the chairs apart and write on the walls. And there's all kinds of things happening for me as a mom, and so we've spent a lot of time isolated, honestly, which I am learning to embrace differently. We can go to parks. What can handle our energy? Because we got big energy as a family. Nature, and start to create the path that we want to walk together, so that more pleasure is experienced, even for my kids. I think about that for them as well. And also accepting that this is the life that I have, and celebrating that and finding that joyous place for them as well. And so I want to bring it in. So that's where I am with pleasure. I want to bring more of it in.
You're a manifester, so it sounds like you're gonna have it. You're gonna have it. But I love that, like Dewey and Montessori type of education and experience where because that's why Montessori school is really great for neurodivergent. I went to a Montessori school. Like, it's great for neurodivergent. That's why I didn't know I was neurodivergent, because I was in the Montessori school.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great. And then I got out to like Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy. I was like, what is going on? I understand now, but I think that's so beautiful that you're letting them like go in environments where they can touch things.
Well, it didn't start that way. I was trying to control everything,
well, right.
at first. But now it's, we have to accept who we are, where we are, and take the next step from there.
You have a beautiful spiritual purpose when you can heal alongside it.
Yes.
Right? And so I think the work for me, and I'm speaking for you all too, but you please chime in here, it's been just that. And it's like the healing is alongside, and so when it's the next thing to do is this, because you're right there with it.
Right.
Right? And so it's an intimate journey to have a business and to be an entrepreneur. And if you're not an entrepreneur, that's why I keep saying it's okay, because self-ownership, and we're living in a multi-purposed generation. We can do multiple things. And all is well, but self-ownership is going to get you there, because now you can say, I can work part-time at a corporation, and then I'm going to like make this jewelry over here, but then I'm going to find an anchor business to kind of wrap all of this together so I'm not feeling like I'm in pieces, because that's a thing.
I love that. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we'll take a few questions from you all, so get your questions ready, and then you'll come right up here. All right. So normally I do the hot seat where I have y'all ask me a question, but I'm not going to do that today. You all get something different. Okay. You did? Oh, okay. Because I was actually just going to ask, as a community, how can we support you? Because you're always the ones, showing care and giving care, and I don't think you get that question often.
We don't.
So I wanted to ask you that, as a community, as individuals, as a collective. How can we support you in this moment?
This question is really interesting timing, because we just received an award from the Ohio Women's Alliance earlier this month. Thank you. And in 16 years, that's our first time receiving an award.
Amazing.
The first time in 16 years. And so there was this moment that came with that, of like so much gratitude for the recognition and the realization of, we aren't always asked, what do you need? Thank you.
What was our responsibility in that? When you think about the lineage of Black women, my mother's generation, it was like, I don't need support, because help versus support is the thing. And so it's like, I don't need your help. So it turned into also no support. So we had to differentiate, what help is me falling down. I really just don't have, I'm hungry. Support is, I need your resources. I need this access to this money that you have access to. I don't need you to come in and say, I want to help you with what you think I need help with.
Right.
So as a Black woman, we had to differentiate help versus support and check people at the door with that. But then it got a little tangled up in just not asking for support. So I do want to take accountability in that, right?
Wow.
Because what happens externally is also, there's another piece to it. However, that's not the only piece. We've been in the city of Columbus for 16 years. I think the cities in general across the globe really need to reevaluate the way they examine the city and the evolutionary pieces they're trying to bring in, and how do we keep the integrity of what was, that it works, like the hospitality, the care, the businesses that have been on ground level for more than 10 years. We shouldn't have to go chase money. Money should just come to us. Correct. Right? Because if we're doing our due diligence and we're holding the space, I want to turn up the volume, and I'm not just on the city of Columbus. I'm talking about everybody, and I'm being really bold to say this. But I think that it's time to renew the energy in a different way. There's many solutions. We're answer-driven society, and I think when we keep going to the answer-driven, we narrow the scope. Right? Instead of asking powerful questions and opening up the field of possibility, that it is possible to actually do your research on these businesses and say, you know what, we have X amount of dollars. Every year we're going to give out X amount of dollars to businesses that have been here more than 10 years, that are thriving and contributing to the greater good of this very expansive energy. Speaking of the city of Columbus, that we're getting transient energy now. So how do we make sure that we don't turn into another city?
That's right.
I'm just saying.
That's real.
We got to be careful.
So going to, back to the question, which we are still on, but operationally, it's like, remember to care for yourselves. Remember to book an appointment. Remember, I think people think that we're just okay, maybe, because you get a different vision when you're on socials and like, oh, we think everybody's okay on social media, in some ways. But just checking in on your sister businesses, making sure that you're saying, hey, is everything going okay? I know there's, the economy is shifting, or, people's disposable income is shifting. Like how, asking that question to people that you care for, like bringing it back to this local, place. I think we reach so far out, like giving money to all these different places, which, is beautiful, but who is right next to you that actually could use that support, and being in conversation more about our challenges helps others to be more in conversation about what they're experiencing too. And so it's just back to this connection piece that we've been talking about.
One more thing real quick. We also have taken accountability to bring and move forward and get real concise about how you can support. In our next big newsletter and things that are going to go out on social are going to be very, very, very clear, because we are going to be asking for support in ways that are reciprocal, which is really important, right? We're not going to just ask just to be getting. It's going to be asked in a way that is that the art of giving and receiving kind of ask, because we want to make sure that everyone's being renewed.
And we do want to mention that there are new ways, new possibilities as our business has evolved. Businesses have evolved to be able to give and have programming supported and potentially write those dollars off. So we are a social enterprise that we are in relationship with Zora's House, where we are today as a fiscal sponsor. And so there's this beautiful reciprocity that's on the table now of how we can elevate the care for humanity and do so in ways that is renewing the energy for everybody, for everyone.
Yes.
I love that whole conversation. And thank you for modeling accountability. Thank you for modeling accountability, because that is community accountability is a part of transformative justice. It's a part of restorative justice. And that is something that we are deeply lacking. Because if I can say, yeah, I'm human, I'm messy, I make mistakes, I do, yeah. If we could say that, then that makes everybody, that gives permission to everybody else to do that too.
Accountability is a word we use a lot, so I'll break it down really briefly. Account for your abilities and your inabilities. So you're taking account, right? And that's why accountability is important. It's not just, be accountable. It's like, if you're not accountable, you can't account for your abilities, currency exchange, right? And you also are accounting for your inability that could be an ability. Now that you're you're owning it. Oh, I didn't do that well. Right. So now it's like, oh, let me do that better.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Do you want to say something about accountability? You got it?
No, I had a hair that was like right in my eyebrow bothering me.
The microphone.
Yes, I needed to move that. Yes.
All right. We'll open it up to questions.
So good afternoon. First of all, I'm going to be playing this episode on repeat because wow, so much beneficial knowledge, everything. Earlier in the episode, why am I Deja? Okay, I was thinking I was forgetting it. You mentioned about working with other organizations and then bringing you in and you're coaching them on care. I'm just being nosy. Have you had a situation where an organization has wanted to bring you in and then try to dictate or have you do something that wasn't? I just want to hear how that went because I'm nosy.
Yes, that is a yes. Corporations are in a space of evolution as well, where they are being dismantled because you're working from home. Now you're coming back together. So we caught them in a good space, but preliminary, like before the pandemic, it was very challenging we didn't want to take away all of our language, but we did have to shift our language a bit to meet their needs and understanding. It was like they knew they needed something different, but they're not ready for that language. And so there comes a time where you can't, that's why the non-attachment piece to, it's not just belongs to yoga world, but like to be non-attached is a thing for the human being. to know when you have to surrender a little bit for the greater good of the purpose. But there have been many times where we had to really step into, you know what, actually this contract is not going to work for us. Period. It just isn't going to work because we're going into a space where you're changing who we are. There was a contract that I had, I'm not going to say the name, but we were inside apartment spaces. It was development. It was what do you call that?
It was
Already made community developments where people live. Is that how you say that? Property management, right? They brought us in to do, the hospitality care and our care offerings. And they wanted us to shift who we were. We were very natural. And they were like, oh, this is not, like, you're going to have to, like, shift what you wear, shift how your hair is, shift,
Absolutely
in a way. And I was just like, you know what? We're done here. We're done with this. Right? And so the things like that have come up, and I know we have other stories, but yeah, that was definitely a big one for us.
There's also really bold conversations that are so imperfect that we have had to grow our confidence in about the dollars matching the outcomes that you're trying to obtain. And so we're not coming in and dropping this restorative work for $50.
Right.
Like, that's not going to happen. Not only does it not speak to our greatness, but if we're creating, which we are deeply in the work of, creating this ecosystem of restorative practitioners where you can come and have your work held and be welled and we can share this contract, we don't want you going out and doing it for $50 either. You're worth more than that.
And that's what is going to make a difference in this global wellness economy that is being built. There's billions of dollars here, y'all. But if we piece it out in a way, we're going to break it down. It's not going to work the same. So we got to stand, because people are moving from industries like nursing and social work and what else? Other industries, education, because those systems are dismantling and they're not serving the greater good of the kids, of the people, of all of it. And so they're coming over to the world of restoration. And if we don't stand for it, we won't be able to have career paths. This is a big deal. So we got to slow down and we got to look at where we actually are in the cadence of in growth, because I think what happens is the ego comes in. I just want to own my own thing. And it's like, yes, do that and know where you are so that you can also grow in a way that speaks to the greatness of the collective.
I don't know what that face even means. Hello. Hi. I don't have a question, but I'd like to offer an affirmation if that would be fine. I love all of you collectively and individually, and I want to thank you all for moving through the world in your authenticity and being an example of complex Black women who don't fit any mold other than the one that you've created on your own and the path that you've created. And you are an example for those of us in the world who are needing that reflected back to us, who need to follow. You are teachers just when you walk into a room. And I've exchanged spaces of care with each of you in different ways over the years. And I love that you are who you are, no matter what the environment is. And then the depth of our conversations. And I love you all collectively, individually. And I just want to, Chanelle, I don't know if you remember this, but I believe we first connected in 2015 when I was on a TED Talk. You did my makeup. You're doing makeup? That was Deja. Oh my God, were you there? Your essence is what's standing out. Wow. I bet this has never.
I haven't been there. I mean, but we interchanged, yeah. But
Well,
it was
I
makeup,
looked
it was
fantastic.
makeup. Oh, great. That's.
But what I remember about you is the groundedness and just there's something about you that's so majestic, that's so grounded and wise. And I know they were saying, like, you're not always out in the front, but you're there. And I see you, and I know the rest of us do too. So that's it. I love you all.
We love you. We love you.
You too.
We love you, Erin. Thank you.
Yes. One more question.
I just wanted to say thank you for being here. My heart is so full and I'm so activated. I keep vacillating between high and low because of all the energy in this room. But I just wanted to ask you all individually, what was the earliest memory you have of what you're creating now or the journey to get here? And then what is the most recent where you're like, wow, this is amazing?
That's a great question.
I always go first, but maybe y'all should go first. Okay, I'm gonna go first.
You said we've been doing this for 8 years. Go on.
Okay, because I know time. So let me pull something in that. Okay, there's two quick ones. One is when we developed the first business plan. My sister was coming home. We had an opportunity a whole weekend almost. Like, it was weird. It was like and then all of a sudden no one was really even saying we're gonna do a business plan. It was like we just did it. And it was a major business plan. Like, when we were done, we're like, wow, that's a big vision. Like, okay, good luck with that. And each moment, it was we're in the vision. We're in the big part of the vision now, right? Like, it never really wavered.
Well, it didn't start when we.
It didn't start
Just
that
because
way.
we had a business plan, it
was-
was like
right.
years
Yeah.
after.
I was thinking when we opened the doors, everybody was going to be there. Like, it's like this, like, yeah, now, oh my gosh, like, we got to figure out other ways to, like, get this going. But the business plan, I remember being at our mom's house and just, like, knocking out that business plan. There's another big memory that is really important because my firstborn is a part of it, where Chanelle dropped that story around the hot yoga and, like, me being like, wow, this is yoga. There's something about this yoga that spoke to my spirit. And I was at home. My daughter was having a depressing day. I mean, I was making good money. I was an esthetician, but there was just something missing in life that I was just like, what is this? You know, I'm like, I'm making money. I'm doing what they, supposedly say this is life is supposed to be about. And my daughter's an artist through and through. She's running around. She's free. She's dancing. And all of a sudden, I'll call my mom like, yoga and art, right? And then the curriculum came through around Yoga Art Kids and being in schools. And so our original curriculum, the care curriculum, came from the Yoga Art Kids concept of these core values and the 8 pillars of expression and yoga and all of these different principles. And I called Chanelle up. I was like, what do you think? And she's like, added the value, take this out, move this around. And then we were like, nobody knows about yoga. And then that's when a call came in from Monique. And I was like having a hard time because it just spoke to my inner child. I was one of those kids that needed this, that I never got that, right? And I'm like, why doesn't anybody care about this? This is crazy. She's like, oh, my son called in. They're both AKAs. And she called, and they have funding. And you can tell more about where the funding came from. And I was like, who? Who is this person? And then then she comes in, and this is my first time actually meeting her. They obviously know each other. That was a very pivotal point doing the program with Malika.
I knew who you were, though, because I always knew Deja's younger sister, or Chanelle's younger sister, Deja, was at the parties that we were at and was using Chanelle's ID.
Yeah.
Like, I knew
Living
that was
on the edge. Living on the edge,
She
baby.
was playing it back like, here we go.
It was
You
at
said
the
he was on the raw edges. You
Valleydale.
said it now.
We spent a lot of time at the Valleydale back then. If you've been here for a while, it was a good time.
Looks like the room has too. Yeah.
There were no camera phones. So that is actually one of my moments, because I still do not remember exactly how the idea came that this was where the money was supposed to go. I just knew that's where it was supposed to go. And so in that not knowing, I know that there was an ancestor that gave me that seed that said, call here. I shared I had a different career path and was working in the field of social work, and I was tasked with finding a program that would support young Black girls who had experienced trauma, abuse, difficult home situations. And I was like, this is it. And we did the program for 7 weeks and went back to, this is when we were in our original location on Town Street. And I was pulling up in this car with these kids.
It was the
Not
clown
safe.
car. I mean, the kids was coming out. But shout out to the social workers that go above and beyond to
Above
make
and
sure the
beyond,
purpose
yes.
is held.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it wasn't just in those moments of that 7-week series. It was in those moments, yes, because I was watching the transformation happen in real time. But then it was what was happening in the 3 years after that program, where I was watching the girls be able to extract the essence of that program out and incorporate it in their everyday lives in ways that was reducing detention and suspensions and increasing their soft skills and all these things, all these like outcomes that we say that we're looking for that I was not able to get because of the red tape that existed. Right. And that point was when I was like, I'm gonna leave. Now there was a whole lot of a spiritual awakening and also like, ooh, what's happening? Like, I don't know what this is. I'm on the edge and I don't know. I'm about to step off of it into something different. But there was so much inner knowing and so much brilliance that was gained in that period of time that we shared together. And when I left, we were like, see you soon.
After that program, it was like we knew there was something else here. And
We
so
knew.
she came back, a year later?
It was like three
3
years
years?
later. I
Dang,
know,
okay.
crazy. It's been a lot of time we've had together.
That speaks to like the non-attachment
It
piece,
does.
though, right?
It does. And when I go back to my childhood, I shared that I was raised primarily like in a very slow space in Texas and grew up in a home with intergenerational family, my mother, my grandmother, great-grandmother, and also my grandfather. And I'm an only child. I was born an only child. And so now I'm about to cry. When I think about my childhood and never feeling lonely, but I would talk to sisters in ways like create them. My imagination was vast. And I would talk to them like they were there. And then I found them.
Yeah, sisterhood is real, real, real.
Man. Man. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I tell people to keep those tears because it's good for your
It's good
skin.
for my skin.
Yeah, it is good for your skin. Pat it in. And the tears that are, do y'all know the tears that are from joy and the tears that are from happiness have a different structure than the ones from sadness? Like under a microscope have a different makeup. Like, you know how snowflakes have, everyone's different? Tears have different like chemicals in them even. So that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
That she just gave y'all a makeup pro tip. So
She really did.
you know,
Tap in.
you're welcome. All right, Kimberly.
Well, thank you for the conversation. My question may lean in a little bit after this preference, but I feel like 2025 has been a reminder that I'm everywhere I'm supposed to be when I need to be. And I want to say before today's conversation went live, right, the song that came on was Prepared by Jill Scott. So I say that to say from a lens of you didn't know what you'll be, right? But speaking to the next generation, right? Or somebody who's going to watch this today, or those of us in the room, right? That are like, hey, I'm there. I know I'm getting ready to fly, right? What would you encourage and say now that you've had this lived experience?
Because my new motto, by the way, is love beyond constructs, because that's been my life. I didn't have a construct, really. Yes, construct of society, yes, but not a system that was so domineering that it boxed me in. I do want to say this to get to the question. Thank you for this question, by the way. I want to make sure and express to every generation to remember the inner child never leaves us, and also for the younger generation that's right there where they're about to bear their fruit, or the fruit is starting to, you bear witness to their own fruit, is to remember and to reflect on your childhood in ways where it's like, I've always been this person. At school, the bullies always sat next to me. Somehow I had to carry my way through. That was me, So like, we develop what is natural. Stay closer to what is natural in you, because we're taught in the capitalistic system to look outside of ourselves. So, but then someone says, okay, look within. It's like, well, what do I look at? Yeah. Right? Where am I looking? Because there's a lot going on in the inner terrain, just as much as it is, if not more, on the outside. As inside, as the terrain is full and rich, and the ecosphere is Mother Earth. So I want to share that. Look back at your childhood and stay close to the natural nature of who it is that you are. Look even with support maybe, because there's trauma and challenge that exists. even in those areas, because you come so far. So what innate ability got you birthed through dealing with that, through experiencing that, your resilience, your capacity. And then we talk about, and thank you for being a good steward of your innate abilities. That's what we're in now, right? Like I'm a speaker. I'm a person who channels energy. I am now learning. I don't always have to be the first person to speak. And actually, when I brew my information and don't deliver it all the time, especially with people who don't deserve it, because people want to hang.
Purple door, you did that with the brew. You did that.
Door, brewing it, you know.
Poet.
Yeah, so brewing it, because some people don't deserve my spiritual gifts, and I'm learning that. Because you gotta be, the discernment is high. Discerning too is at its utmost high, or what is the word? So discerning when to use the gift, when to check in on the gift, and when to just be with the gift, so that you can see how it's evolving and if it's in a healthy state.
Yes. Get very intimate with change.
Yes.
Very, very intimate with change. I, in my life, claim change as my guru. That doesn't mean that I'm great at it all the time. But there is this surrender that is a superpower, an innate superpower that actually conserves energy and supports the direction that we are meant to be on when we surrender within change, which is not easy, but get so intimate with change. At the start of 2019, I started saying this affirmation, a prayer to myself in the mirror every morning. May God, the aligned ancestors, the universe, keep my heart pointed in the most aligned direction for my life path. And may anything that is misaligned gently and lovingly fall to the wayside. Thank God I said the gentle and loving.
Can you say that one more time? Because I
Yes,
haven't said the gentle and loving.
The gentle and loving part fall to the wayside. And then things started falling. And I was like, ooh, my husband, my house.
Come on now.
These things that I've used that were so safe and beautiful, are now falling to the wayside, but I trust change. And there was this element of like almost being energized in the grief, because I know that there is a redirection that's happening and I asked for it. Thank you. Trusting change. And when you are a young person and this world is telling you that you're supposed to have it all figured out by some magical age of 18, which is ridiculous. Like, I'm supposed to know what I want to do, what I want to be for forever? Right? Like, that's crazy. It's crazy, right? And so unfair and unrealistic. Trust and allow yourself to change and evolve, because Deja talked about that inner child. So much of the change that happens when we allow ourselves to surrender and kind of treat change as that guru and ride the waves of change, it's actually bringing us back to that point. It's bringing us back of like, this is who you really are.
Yeah, nurturing that inner child is what resonates for me at every stage of life. Like at this stage of my life, with the conversation about pleasure, with the conversation, like I'm checking in on her, and I'm asking the questions. I'm listening to my body. What I know for sure is that I trust myself, and so I want to hold space for that knowing, that listening. And so I think for young people, especially in the age of technology and all of the noise, there's so much noise. You have to find these quiet spaces, and find your mode. It's not yoga for everybody. It's not, journaling. Has become something that I really want to get into, because as a kid, I used to write all the time, and I need to position a pen and paper next to me instead of my phone, and create these rituals that help me to get closer to that little girl. Because I feel like we were born with all that we need, and we just have to remember. Yes. And so, trust is coming back to that.
I'll answer that question too as we close out. It's a good question. I will say +1 to everything that y'all said. Slow down a little bit more. and slow down a little bit more. More tender, a little bit more tender, a little bit more tender. And the last thing I'll say is invite the grief. I have spent so much of my life trying to control whether I didn't have to experience any more pain or heartbreak or any of that. And all that did was make it that much worse when I did, because it's going to happen. That's just life. It's going to happen. And so now I'm resourced enough to know that no matter what comes, I can get me through it, right? And that's a big one. But then, like, inviting the grief, there's so much on the other side of it. There's so much on the other side of it. And the quicker I can move through it, the quicker I can get to that stuff. And so invite the grief. Thank you all so much. This was more than I could have imagined or visioned. You all are brilliant and just beautiful souls and beautiful energy to sit in. So I thank you for trusting me, because I know y'all don't go running around talking with everybody. I know it. I know it. And we just had my team with Healing Broken Circles for a retreat, and Tiffany is in the audience and was our practitioner, and it was a really beautiful moment to see Black men who have been incarcerated in yoga poses, and with all the care that was there, whether it was food or the 10-minute massages or us being able to strategize in that space and have a lot of creativity. There's just a lot of beautiful things happening there, probably more than you understand or realize. So I would just encourage anyone who is listening or who is here now to explore what's possible. And if you have a vision for something, then get with them. They'll curate it. And so, keep finding your way over to Town Street. Keep finding your way in their inbox. It's Town in Washington. Town in Washington. It's at the corner of Town and Washington. Apologies. It's at the corner of Town in Washington. 124 South Washington. And make sure you're going over there, and make sure you are taking care of yourself. And you can always check in on them too, to see what they need as well. So that reciprocity gets to stay there. Anything
We appreciate
last things
you.
to say?
My daughter Sula will go.
Yes.
Heart to heart, y'all. Heart to heart. Stay curious about what is possible. Curiosity over self-judgment. When you feel the judgment, lean in with that curiosity so you can look from every angle. That holistic perspective will help to guide you a little more gentler, more tenderly. And come see us.
We send care.
We send care and courage and calm.
Can you give that acronym for CARE one more time?
Yes.
Connection, accessibility, restoration, and evolution. We'll see you soon.
Yes.
Thank you.